Hello, folks. Jonathan Milam here with the Trumpet Review, and I have got a Benge, which is somewhat interesting, I suppose, a little unusual. This is a Benge 4. Benge 4. The serial number is just under 15,000. So it was made in L.A. Eldon Benge had passed away. His son Donald was making horns at that time, I believe, and Zig Kanstul was working with him. This horn, the 4, was Zig's idea. And you can see this horn, sometimes people say, I'd like to know the story on that horn. Okay, the story on this horn, I've had it about a year. I saw it listed on the internet, and it was about 2 hours away. So I told my wife, I said, you know what, we have never been to this particular city. Wouldn't you just love to go and visit? It's not that far away. It's 90 minutes, 2 hours. And she looked at me and she said, honey, I love you so. Actually, she looked at me and said, is there a trumpet there? And I said, what do you know? There is a trumpet there. The guy had advertised this for $75. And it was... So I texted him and said, I'll take it. I almost hurt my back. I was reaching for the phone so fast. But he never responded. So I upped my bid to $100. And he agreed, to see it tomorrow, such and such a time. So I went by. There was a huge crease in the bell. It's not there any longer, courtesy of Music and Arts in Charleston, South Carolina, where I live. Every slide was stuck. I believe it was the dirtiest horn that I've ever had. It was really not a good-looking horn. All the slides were stuck. I worked with them for about 48 hours. The first one that came loose was the third dump slide. And dents, there were dings all over the third slide where people apparently had hammered it with various objects trying to get it to loosen up. And even after I got it pulled, it was still immovable. It was so dented. And again, Music and Arts did a nice job with that. I did get all the slides pulled eventually, WD-40, and I found that when you're pulling slides, you don't just use like a shoelace, which is nice, but you loop the shoelace around the slides because when they come shooting out, they can hit the wall and get dented. Didn't happen on this horn, previous horns, but loop it around a few times so that when the slide comes out, and you just pull it very lightly, and if it's not going, you take it to a repair shop before you start, the braces start moving on it. But at any rate, a little bit of red rot, which is not uncommon for these horns, and I think a lot of that is just the metal that they were working with at the time. However, the other thing that it's working at, if you've got a horn that's a pitiful player and nobody's spending any time with it, it's not so likely to develop red rot or dezinkification, where saliva or sugar products, if you drink Coke while you're playing or tea or whatever, gets down into it. And this horn is 100% silver plate. It's tarnished quite badly, courtesy of Wright's Silver Cream. What you want, at least what I'll use in the future, is flits. Flits. I really do like flits. I had some extra Wright Silver Cream, hadn't used it in a long time. Now I remember why. It was probably almost a year ago, but Flitz usually does better than this. Anyway, nice horn, very, very usable for many different applications. Timothy Dockshizer, if I'm remembering the last name, Timothy, if I'm remembering the last name correctly, was recorded a number of classical repertoire orchestras with a Benge, probably not a 4, but nonetheless, very nice live bell, very, very pleasant blow, but enough. We'll play Give Me That Old Time Religion. Yep, wrong mic, sorry. Okay, I've got a friend up in Canada, and we talk a lot about horns. She sends me clips of her playing, and critiques my view tubes in a very nice way. But we go back and forth, and a lot of times I'll say your last horn was the one that I liked the best of the sequence of the three. That's because by that time we're warmed up. We'll give it another shot and maybe go up a fourth and play just a little more. Okay, I think a lot of times, if we have something to compare it to, the mic settings, what they show off. I've got a Pudgy here that is certainly a different horn. By the way, I was playing this with a Reeves 42M. The throat has been enlarged to a 25. A relatively shallow cup, really a good fit for that horn. And here is the Pudgy with a Reeves Custom, kind of a deeper V. All right, and back to the Benge. All right, great Benge. The 4. Oh, the reason it's distinct from the other horns is it's got a smaller receiver area. Zig thought a little more to play against in the way of resistance up front would be a good thing. My understanding was once he made that, he was not real thrilled with it. It works perfect for me. A little early in the morning for me to be doing much, but I have got as good a range, if not better, than any horn I've ever played here. Little leak in the lead pipe, leaky valves, maybe that all contributes. The old story, Mendez, they gave him a brand new Mendez trumpet to play, and he was not happy. They took back his old Besson, they examined it, the valves were very leaky. They honed the valves on the new Mendez trumpet that they'd given to him, Olds did. And once they'd honed the valves and there was some leakage, he was thrilled with it. So we all need different things to reach our zenith. Okay, Benge 4, medium-large player, same bell, I believe, as the 3, but definitely a little tighter lead pipe. It works for me. Hope you've enjoyed this. Oh, I did want to say, I've had so many Strads over the years. This is the first Benge that I've had under the 15,000 mark. I did have a UMI Benge a few years back. If you search YouTube, you can find that review. Very nice player, seemed to share some characteristics. I think they had a lighter bell on that. But I remember years ago reading, I believe it was Mike McGovern on a Trumpet Herald thread, and he said, man, he said there was two guys might see a third one in the airport, and they'd say, oh, this is Joe Blow from Kentucky, great player, but he plays a Bach. I mean, if they were Benge guys, that's the way they'd look at it. The Benge and Bach wars. Seems like Eldon Benge did not go the large factory route, pumping horns out. I think he enjoyed, from what I've read, just working with each horn individually and seeing what he could do with it. Very interesting. This is, as I said, only the second Benge that I've had, and certainly the older one and more similar to what Eldon was putting out as his son was still working with it. But it's a great horn. Hope you've enjoyed this. Any questions or comments? We always like that. Never too late to give a thumbs up. Have a great day. Do take care.